Good afternoon, everybody. So, people who are joining online, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, you see, we are at the end, or almost at the end, or last quarter of this course, right? So, as you see our schedule, so today is April 8, right? So, we will complete this module 7, classes and objects. So, please remember that your quiz 7 is due this weekend. Please check it as soon as possible. Do not wait for the last minute or last hour. Okay. So after this, we will have only few topics, only actually 2 topics, so that you are already familiar with. Okay. So the array. So in today's lecture, let us say we have a few more things just to review. I already discussed almost everything for this module. Okay, so that there is, we see that there is one more slide, introduction to object oriented programming, that is part 2. So today we will cover that, and as you see that you are already familiar, you should be already familiar with this because I already covered this with live program multiple times. Okay, and today's lecture, please give attention. I will hopefully disclose a test question. Okay, if you understand, if you give attention to today's lecture and understand it, you will get a full test question, maybe 60% for I'm sorry, for your test 3 and one third for your final exam. Okay, so for both your final exam and test 3, this is very important. Okay, so object oriented programming. So it says object oriented design and programming. Actually, we are not discussing object oriented design concept in this lecture. We are just discussing introduction to object oriented programming. So these are whatever we are discussing in this lecture, in this course, in this module is not enough for you to understand object oriented programming completely, but it is an entrance for you. Okay, in the world of object oriented programming, there are many slides, videos. Especially our 1322 course is designed with object-oriented programming principles. If you understand one half of the 1322 next course, even if you do not take it, I urge you to complete the video that I have on my YouTube channel for 1322. Then you would understand object-oriented programming better. Okay. So we discussed this constructor. What is a constructor? A constructor is a method of a class that has exactly same name of its class name, right? A constructor cannot have a return type or return statement. Okay, constructor is used to construct an object. What is meant by construct an object? To set its value, set its memory location. Whenever we use constructor, then the object gets its actual life in memory. So a class can have multiple constructors. We discussed that. The first constructor that is called default constructor, that has no parameter or argument. Other constructors are different in terms of the number of parameters or type of parameters. Not depend. It's not a matter for overloaded. It's called overloading. Overloaded constructor. It's not a matter what is the function return type or return statement, because we discussed that constructor cannot have return type or return statement. Okay, this is a quiz question, remember that. Okay, it's constructor chaining. That means you can use multiple constructors. Okay, and controller properties. How do we control property? Usually we can use dot operator. We use for public properties, but if we make our properties public, then there is a scope of violation of security or privacy. Okay, so in order to do that, so in order to secure our properties, especially the private properties, we use getter and setter method. Getter method is another name is called accessor, and setter methods is another name is called modifier. So accessor or modifier is used to get a value. This method returns a value, but first we need to use setter method to set a value. Okay, so if it is alphabetically comes, then getter method you will see first, but actually we need to use setter method first, then use getter method. Unless you use setter method, you cannot use getter method. It will not give you any true value. Okay. So default constructor, this default constructor, that means if you do not declare any constructor in a class, for instance, if you do not declare any constructor, for instance, this is the constructor, right? How do we know it is a constructor? It is name exactly same name of its class name. Class name is dog, so D is in uppercase, so constructor is dog, and this is a method. So whenever this constructor does not have any argument, that is called default constructor. Any issue? Okay, so what does a default constructor do? Every class contains a default constructor, even if you put it or if you do not write it. Okay, explicitly it has. If you delete it, then it has. What the default constructor does, it sets value to the attributes. What value? Default value. So it depends on the rabbit. So I would say, for instance, actually I'm not a good fan of writing pseudocode. So you say that rabbit, it does not say what kind of variable rabbit is. Pseudocode does not say that, but you can say as, maybe you can say, so you say by looking at the value you can assume, right? False is used for Boolean, right? So you can say as Boolean. If you say as Boolean, then it looks better to me. So weight is 0, that means it says as int. So if you say here 0.0, then it means it is float. If you say 0.0 over here, then it will be float or double. Okay, so name is null value is stands for as string. Again, I encourage you to not to write pseudocode for class development. Try to understand how to write actual code. Okay, then you will learn better. Okay, so these are the rabbit is Boolean. So the default constructor will set rabbit value to false. So you can say equal sign over here. That's fine. You can say instead of arrow, you can say equal sign. And since weight is a double variable, it needs to be 0.0. In some languages, like if it is float, then you need to give f over here. So your type is float. If it is type is float, in some languages you need to give f, or in lowercase f. Lowercase f. Okay. To mean that this is a float variable, type variable. And then name is a string, so string value gets null value default. So this is the default constructor. Okay, even if you do not give this, it set this as. Okay, so in your test, if you hopefully you will be asked to write a constructor, default constructor, and set to default value. So these are the default value you will set. Default value, it depends on the type. Okay, for integer type, default value is 0, right? Boolean type false, double type 0.0, float type double 0.0f, string type null. Okay, so this is called default constructor. Has anyone any question? Okay, that's good. So now a class can have more than one constructor. So when your class can have more than one constructor, then is better to declare the default constructor explicitly. Okay, the first you will declare default constructor, then you will have other constructors. So all other constructors vary based on the number of parameters or types of parameters. So here there is no parameter. So parameters, when some variables are declared within the parentheses of a method, then those are called parameters, right? Or argument. Okay. So other constructor will be different in terms of the number of parameters or types of parameters. This is it says, okay. So whenever we have default constructor, we will have more opportunity to create your variable with values. Whenever you create a variable, okay. So let us see some examples. How do we write multiple constructors? So the concept of multiple constructor in programming, object-oriented programming concept, it is called overloading, method overloading. Okay, method overloading. You remember the term? This is a terminology, method overloading. It is an quiz question or interview question. Okay, what is method overloading? Having multiple methods with same name. Okay. So let us see another example. So here, if we have a class name, so this is the UML diagram. UML means uniform markup language. Something is block. Okay. So here, so this class is my class name, and these are the attributes. You see that radius, then colon double. That means radius is a variable or field of double type. Okay. And it is language independent, and this is circle is a method, and this is there is another method is called circuit, but it takes a parameter. It's called new radius, and then that is double type. So whenever you call this, whenever you call circle constructor, if we provide a value, a double value, that will call the second constructor. If you do not call that, do not provide any value in the parameter, then it will call the first parameter. And it has get area. You can have other methods, set area, whatever you need. Okay. So then once you create object, for instance, you create object circle 1, circle 2, circle 3. There are 3 objects. So you can set up radius. For one object radius 1, another object radius 25, another object radius 125, anything, any value you want. Okay. So the concept is that you need to understand the concept. How do you develop a class? Once you can develop a class, then it's easy. Okay. My understanding is that if you can develop a dog class, you should be able to develop a cat class. You should be able to develop an animal class. You should be able to develop a cow class. Similarly, if you understand how to develop a circle class, you should be able to develop another like a rhombus class, a square class, or a rectangular class. Just you need to understand for a circle what are the ingredients or what are the elements a circle does need, right? In order to declare circle, it needs 2 things. In order to make a circle, we need to know the location of its center, right? And you need to know radius. That's it. If you are given diameter, then you will divide the diameter by 2 and then get radius, right? So once you know the center of a circle and you know the radius, boom, you can create a radius, right? Based on the center, location of center and size of radius, your circle will be long, mass, medium, right? Different size. So all circle look same, but that's different in 2 position, right? Either location, that is center, or size, that depends on the radius, right? So now we have these are the fields. Okay, and then we need to use constructor. In the constructor, you will set up what is the center and what is the radius. You can add more attributes over here, more features. What is the color of your circle, right? The boundary color. You can add more, but it's okay. So once you understand, so you see that this is the pseudocode, and you have get area, and then you can set area. Okay, so we can have multiple methods. So you see that. So please, I like you to do some practice. Okay, writing pseudocode or actual program code. If you can write actual program code, you can write pseudocode. But if you only practice writing pseudocode, you may not be able to write actual code. So learning actual code is better than learning pseudocode, right? You see, pseudocode will take long time, and then all of you should write all in uppercase. Although in our while grading we do not consider this, but you still you should follow that rule. Okay. Okay, so this is program code in C# and Java language. Almost they're same. In Java language and C#, almost they're same. Okay, this so let us examine this class. Okay, so what is the class name here? Circle. Okay, so what is the accessibility? Is public. I will come back soon. Okay, what is meant by public, private? Okay, so I'll come back. Okay, so how many attributes this class does have? Look at the screen. How many attributes this class has? Only one, right? What is that? Radius. What is this type? Double. Yes, I got it. Okay. So then, how many constructor does it has? Two constructor. One is the first constructor. This is called default constructor, and there is another constructor. This is called argumented constructor or overloaded constructor. Okay, the concept is called overloading. When you have multiple constructors, this concept is called constructor overloading. Okay. Okay. So what is the difference between the first constructor and second constructor? Yes, second one it takes argument, right? First one does not have any argument. So if I call the first constructor, what value it will set for radius? Yes, it will set 1.0, right? If I did not give 1.0 over here, it would set 0.0. If I would set like, okay, so if I would have like this, then the default constructor would set radius 0, right? So 0.0, right? Default, it would set default value. So please remember that, okay? And the second constructor, whenever I call the second constructor, it will set the value whatever I put. So you see that here, this is what is about here, this line. It's a radius equal to new radius. So what is, can I use this dot radius equal to new radius? Can I use this dot? Is it okay if I use this? It's okay, right? But it is optional, right? Why it is optional? Since my argument name, so my field name and this argument name, they are different. If they are different, then using this operator is optional. But if they are same, for instance, if I say radius over here, then I must use this dot radius equal to radius. If this argument is exactly same name as field name of the class, then we need to distinguish which one is referring to which one, right? So this says this object's radius equal to whatever radius you will provide. whenever you are creating an object. Okay, so then you will provide a radius, and then that radius will be set up for the object that you are creating. So this operator is used for current instance, current object. Okay. So what is the get area method? It just return area. So you know that area for a circle, the area is pi r squared, right? So this is pi, this is r, pi times r squared. You can write in different way. You can write pi value first, 3.14, and then times radius. You can, okay. As long as this code is good, then it's okay. Has anyone any question about this? Anyone any question about circle class? If you understand circle class, now you should be able to write another class like a square class, right? So if I say square, this class name is square, what will be the value? So in that I will say, so if I say square class, for instance, let me say duplicate it. So if I say class square, so then what this will be square, right? So then should I say the radius? You say what is the yes, we call side, right? For radius, for a square, we call side, right? We can say side, right? And then here it will be square, and it will be square, and double, it will be side, and then this dot side equal to side, and then get area, right? So what is the area of a radius of a square? Okay, side times side, right? So I will type in side type. Okay. So dear mistakes. So here I did mistakes. So double, it should have square. So in order to be a constructor, it must be exactly same name of its class name, which is case sensitive. Okay. So if you type in s is in lowercase, this is a method, but not a constructor. So in order to be a constructor, its names must be exactly same name of its class name. You understand? You will remember. So I don't like my student to lose any single point when you write your answer this question. Okay, so these languages are case sensitive. Okay, even if you do not lose point, but I like you, please be careful. Okay, it is a norm that the class name start with an uppercase letter, but you can give a lowercase. Still, your program will be working. As whenever we write our name, right? When we write our names, what do we say? We start with an uppercase letter, right? This is a normal name. But if you write in lowercase, you will not be taken to jail, right? So, but we should follow the normal trend. Okay, so now we understand how do we create another class. So now if we understand how to write a circle class, then how to write a square class, then you should be able to write any other class, like a rectangle class, right? So if I have a rectangle, then what are the attributes we have? What are the field we need for a rectangle? Length and width, right? That's good. So then instead of 1, what we will put 2, right? So now let us practice this one. So now say rectangle class. Huh? Yeah, I will go. Okay. So rectangle class, I will say rectangle over here. So rectangle, and then double is length. I can say length. I can quickly say L and then Y. Okay, so then you will have rectangle. I wish I can copy and paste, but it does not allow me to copy and paste. So if I to copy and paste, it does not allow me. Okay, so it's good. So how many put I need to put over here? 2, right? One for length, another for. Remember that I still need to put double. Here I can say comma, but here with one single type. But here I need to keep the type explicitly wide, and send this dot L equal to L, and this dot what? W equal to huh? Yes, please speak loudly, please. W. Okay, that's good. Then how can I get area? Length type. Okay, you understand? Now, if I ask you to write any other class, we have practiced 3, right? You should be able to write this, right? But this is in C# and Java format. In C++, there is a little bit variation. One variation is that, for instance, in Java and in C#, you can say public. You can say here public, or you can keep it. You can skip it, but still it is considered as our default. Okay. But in C++, you need to mention what is the type of the radius. Okay, every in this field you have to type is type, is accessibility. It's a public, that means this field is public. That means any other class that uses this class can have access to radius. So we need to write public colon, okay? So once you write a public colon, until you change the accessibility mode, all of these are public. Okay, and it ends in C++, it ends with a semicolon. So the major difference are 2 major difference. Okay, in C++ you need to use the access modifier explicitly, and you need to use semicolon at the end. And similarly, you need to use this scope operator is called. So circle. So this you understand this. You understand this, right? What is this? This is similar to previous C++ and C#, right? But only different is that we use circle colon circle. That means this, it calls this circle method, or it is a constructor, is a member of this circle class. Okay, and for all methods we have to write like this way. And all methods you have to write, you say this one is extra for C++. So C++ is one of the oldest programming languages, object-oriented programming language. So it has some extra burden. So this is in modern programming languages like Java, Python, C++, C#, many other programming languages. These are skipped. We don't need to write this. So people who are taking C++ lab, please give attention. Then you need to write this. It is not an enforcement from me. Okay, it is the development process. You need to follow it. Has anyone any question? It's mainly C++ people. Joshua, do you have any question, Joshua? What? Yeah, this is called scope operator. It says this get circle method is used is a member is declared within is a member of circle class, because in C++ we have a header file. So actually this class is declared in a header file, and implementation is declared in another file that is called CPP file. So a CPP file can contain multiple methods. So if you have another, for instance, get area, you have another class that is called maybe rectangle class, another class square class. Okay, so for this get area can have multiple classes in multiple classes, right? For rectangle class and then circle class, square class, right? So this, in that case, it is nice that you can have this. So whenever you say circle colon rectangle, so this get area, circle colon get area is for circle class. It's easy, right? So you need to one thing that is no, it's easy. So then you can have multiple methods. Another get area for square method. Okay. Thank you. So in pseudocode format, see, this is the pseudocode format, and then once we declare a class, we need another class that's called driver class. Okay, to create object of this circle or do other function. So in C++ and C# program and Java and C# and other program, we saw that the main method, right? So the main method actually, this is inside the main test circle begin, actually main, it should be main. Okay, so main method begin main method. So in the within the main method we should here actually end main, should have this. Okay, so in the main method we will declare object. So we says create circle 1 circle 2 as circle. Okay, then as is type. Okay, and then you say that you initialize circle 1 equal to new circle. You can give equal sign over here. Okay, as I'm telling you. So that means circle 1 will be initialized by equal to new circle. It should be C is in uppercase. Okay, make this correction please. So it is constructor. So constructor needs to be exactly same name. Okay, please make this correction. Okay, it should be in uppercase. There's a typo here. And then whatever you do, you can say print area of circle 1, circle 1 dot get area, circle 2 dot get area. So this one will get the circle 1, it will print circles 1 area, and it will print circle 2's area. For this one, its circle diameter radius will be 1, right? Default radius, whatever default radius we set here. Okay. Equal to 1.0. If we do not provide any value, then it will take default area, default value. And you are giving explicit value over here, so then it will not use default value, whatever value we provide for the radius it will take. So then if you run this program, then output will be something like this. Okay. Has anyone any question? I know you don't have any question, and you will not have any question. Maybe some of you are feeling shy. Don't feel shy, please. Okay, I can any question for you, but I like you again. You have to practice. So this is in Java. Okay, this is in Java code, and this is in C# code. Okay, and this is in C++ code. Again, if you do not practice, then what you will do, you will in the test you will remember 50%, 60%. You will not remember 10%, so you will lose point. You will do some mistakes, and then you will see that your mistake is severe, and you will lose substantial amount of points. Okay, so please practice programming. There is no alternative of practice. I don't know any alternative of practicing. Okay. Has anyone any question? So C++ people, give attention. There are two ways to declare a variable. One is an object. One is called circle C1. This is very simple. You don't need to use new. It's another one is called circle star C2. You can give even space over here. So star here is called pointer. Only pointer is in C++. C++ is pointer, but in this course we are not discussing this pointer. Okay, pointer concept. Java and C# does not have pointer. Pointer, accessing pointer and handling pointer is difficult. This is why modern languages they do not have pointer. So if you use pointer, then you need to use new, another line. Okay, C2 equal to new. And these two lines you may write like this way. Circle star C2 equal to new circle. You can do like this way in one sentence. You can do like this way. This is equivalent to these two. These two lines can be combinedly written as like this way. Okay. And then if you use pointer, then you use arrow operator. Minus sign followed by a greater sign. There is no space in between. Yes. No, you cannot use equal sign here. Equal sign, I told you that equal sign is, you could use equal sign instead of back arrow. Where there is a back arrow. Previously like this. This is a back arrow. You understand? Back arrow, right? And this is what we call forward arrow. This is backward. Okay, and this is actually forward. This is forward. This is not backward. You understand the difference? Okay. You please practice. If you do not practice, you will not remember this. Okay, has anyone any question? So people who are joining online, is everybody okay? Now, if you understand this, right, you can write a class. If I ask you to write a weather class, right? So for instance, if I ask you to write a weather class, what you will write? First of all, square, circle, rectangle. Let us go another class quickly. We can say weather. We can say weather class or tornado class or rain class or flood class. Okay, so let me say is weather class. Okay, so then what I will give here, name class name is weather, right? Weather. And then what are the attributes for weather? Yes, that means weather type, right? Temperature, okay, it's okay, that means temperature. I can say public temp as integer, right? What else I can have? Maybe weather severity, right? Is it severe or mild or right? What is that called? It's called forecast level or something, right? Severity or whatever you say. Okay, so you can say severity. In your test, you will be given clue what are the attributes needed, right? So if you are say that okay, put the temperature or T temperature, you will say temperature. Okay, in your test you will be said that what kind of temperature is. You will say integer type temperature. Okay, the severity, whether it is integer or boolean. If it's a boolean, right, then either as boolean. If you say severity level, let me 1 to 10, whether 1 to 10, right? Forecast level, right? So you can say integer or you can say string, whatever. Okay, and then for your constructor, you need to be weather here, right? Your weather constructor, and this one will be your okay. And then here, what do you need to do? In the another constructor, in integer type, what? Temp, right? Temperature is integer type, right? And the second one is string type, right? String type. Okay, severity, or you can say S, no matter. It says then this dot temp equal to temp, right? And what is the next one? This dot severity equal to, hey, that's it, you are done. Okay, then get weather, for instance. Okay, it's not calculate area, actually gets weather forecast. Okay, what do we want to return? So want to return, it depends on okay what this public will. You can have void. If you say is void, that means it will print something. Okay, but if you say whatever method is that, so you can say if you say int over here, then you can say, for instance, okay, let me take it, make it different. Okay, get temp, for instance, get temp, get weather temperature. Then you will say return what? What do you need to write here? Temp, the variable that attribute we have. Okay, so now we may have another method. We can say get severity. Okay, so severity is what will be return type of severity? String. Then return is or severity. Huh? Severity. That's it. Has any question? Now, if you can write a temp weather class, can you write a tornado class? Right? So then in your test, you will be given the class name and you will be given clue. What are the attributes? What are the methods? Right? So please, I wish I could have more time today to give you activity, but I'm giving you activity. So please, before you come to the next class, complete this weather class in a program, in a language, okay? And another program you will write for tornado class. Okay, two programs you will practice: weather class, developing weather class, and developing tornado class. Please write it down. This is your homework. And if you please write it, complete program in Replit and email me. Okay. Yeah, another class, tornado class. Yeah, the weather class. This one. Finish this one, okay? So if you can write tornado class, then you can write hurricane class, right? Or you can write what is called the earthquake class. So writing class is not a difficult thing, right? Is it tough? Now you should understand, right? How to write a new. So by writing a class, what we are doing, actually, we are creating a type, data type, right? Your custom data type. Then you will have your main method, and in the main method, you will create an instance or object of your class. So your homework, you will complete it with your driver class, driver method, okay? With the main method. So complete this, okay? And send me your URL. So has anyone any question? The homework I gave you or the program I practiced so far, if you understand this, you will be able to, your test, then your upcoming test will take 30 minutes to complete. Okay, people who are online, has anyone any question? So again, if you do well in test 3, definitely you will do well in final exam. And if you do have well in final exam, you have a chance to replace your lowest test grade, right? By your final exam. Maybe if you did not do well in test 1 or test 2, you have a chance to do well in test 1 or test 2. I'm sorry, my microphone is out of battery. Why does they don't put battery? Daniel, can you see that is there any battery over here? Can you please help me? Battery, is there any battery over here? Take it, please. If it is battery, that replace this too. Thank you. So again, people who are online, has anyone any question? Empty battery box? Yeah. Can you open the drawer? Is there any drawer you can open? Oh, what? Drawer. No, you cannot open? Locked? Top one. No? No, I think they had it out maybe. Okay, come on, please come back. Sorry. Thank you, though. Okay. That doesn't work. Okay, now another thing is that, okay, I also in a previous lecture, I also discussed how to override the toString method. Remember? How to override the toString method, but this example does not have toString method, but please include that one also in your program. Include the toString method. Overriding the toString. Why do we override the toString method? Can you remember? Karjan, can you please tell me? It is toString method is not available in C++. No, actually you need to override the toString method for displaying your object as a string representative memory address, right? So if you override the toString method, then you can display an object more likely as a you display variable, normal variable, right? So Joshua, you remember the difference between a class and a variable? What is the difference between a class and a variable? Can you please give me this difference in one sentence? Daniel, you can give me the difference of variable and class and object in one sentence. Okay, who can tell me? Yes, for a class, data type is, for an object, data type is a class. And variable data type is not a class, but one of the 8 primitive data types, right? If for everything has a type, I said that in this world, everything has a type. Whenever you ask a question, what is it? The answer we get, that is a type, right? So if I ask you, what is it? Water bottle. So its type is a bottle, right? So if I ask you, so for instance, what is it? It's a phone, right? It's a mobile phone. Then the type is phone. So everything in this world, if it is visible or invisible, has a type. That type is either class or one of the 8 primitive data types. Okay. If the type is one of the 8 primitive data types, then we call that a variable. If the class is unknown for us, not one of the 8 primitive data types, we say unknown or custom or built-in, right? Custom. Then we say it's an object. It's very simple. Okay. So now one more thing is that the last thing, let me see, it should be last thing. Okay, that example I discussed with the example that it is slide has example. Okay, slide has example, but let me, one thing we need to cover right now, it is time, is called access modifiers or visibility mode. Okay, it's called visibility mode or access modifier. So visibility mode is that, for instance, as a human being, right? We have some features or characteristics. Some of our characteristics or attributes or features are private, right? Or we like to keep this private. Can you please tell me some of your attributes or characteristics that you want? One thing is social security number. You don't like anyone to know social security number, social number, right? Yeah, so in object-oriented programming, we ensure that we using getter and setter method, right? To protect your social security number type, this kind of private variables, right? Okay. So in your class, so in a test, you will be given to write a class like this, okay? With a variable this, with a field this as private, with a field this as public, with a field this as maybe protected. So if you're then you are asked to write the getter and setter method for the private variable, then you will see how many private variables you have. Only you will write getter and setter method for that variable, right? So mainly read your test question, okay? So maybe sometime I like to tell that write the getter and setter method only for private variable. You don't need to read for one. Right for one, okay? So visibility mode, for instance, later understand two things, public and private. So in Java, there are 4 visibility modes: public, private, protected, and default. Okay, but C++, it says public or private, it does not have, and protected, it does not have default. Default means whenever you do not write any visibility mode like this, whenever you do not write any visibility mode. Here it's a private. If you do not write private, if it blank, then it is default. Only Java has default. Okay, other languages do not have default. Okay, then let us see 2 other. So public, if it is public, then anyone or any other class can have access to that attribute. Okay, and it is private, then only it is self. Okay, but if you want to allow others to do, you can do that through other public method, like get and setter method. So there are accessibility mode 2 levels. On a class can be private. If a class is private, then everything is private. Okay, class can be public, and then access modifiers are used for 2 things. One for class, 2 things. Let me say, one for class, and another for the attributes, like this. So you can say over here, you will see sometime you can say public over here. So this access modifier is for class, and this public is for field. Okay, 2 things. One for access modifier is for class, another for is for the fields or attribute methods. Okay. That is why it is said over here. So variable methods and even classes can mark either public or private. Okay, so now understand what is the difference between public and private. So one thing is that if you make it public, then it is accessible by, it is known by anyone. Okay, but this in one sense it is good, but in other sense that it violates one of the important properties of object-oriented programming. It is called encapsulation. Okay, or data hiding. Okay, we are not discussing encapsulation in this course. Encapsulation, the word encapsulation came from the terms capsule. You understand capsule? You know capsule, right? It's a kind of medication. Okay. So these are the capsule, right? So we know that in capsule, there are some ingredients over here that are wrapped with some plastic matter, right? So whenever we buy some medicine, if it is leaked, you will not buy that, right? You will not use it, right? So that it ensures that in its capsule ensures that it is called encapsulated, that ensure that the ingredients are pure. Okay, is workable, right? So otherwise, whenever we take a medicine like this, we take it without including the plastic, right? We do not break it and we take the medicine and we throw out the plastic. We do not do that, right? We eat and we take it including the plastic, right? But in general, we will not chew or we will not eat this plastic. But for the sake of medicine, we take it. So the concept came from that encapsulation over here. Okay, so that means for an object, its features are encapsulated, especially the private features. Private attributes are encapsulated so that it cannot, it is hidden from outside world. It cannot be leaked. Okay, so if it is private member, then it is in enforced encapsulation. No one can see or access up from outside. Okay, and if it is public, then it is accessible from by other people, and but it violates the encapsulation. As a human being, for instance, the attributes that we like to explore for our name, right? We make it public. But the attribute we want to keep secret for social security number, we make it private. Okay. But if something is private, no matter is private or public, I myself know that, right? So privacy is maintained from outside, not from inside the class itself. You understand? Okay, you'll get some quizzes from these slides. Okay, quizzes whenever you take quizzes from this one. Okay, please read this slide for understanding the rules of privacy rules, private protected rules. Okay. Now we discuss how do we access or change private variable through setter, right? Through setter and getter method, right? Setter method, through setter method we say it, set up or change, and through getter method we get it. Okay, so in your test you will be asked to write getter and setter method also. In the class you will be asked to write getter and setter method also. So there are examples, some example over here how to set a variable. So I discussed in one of the lectures that how do we write setter method. So setter method start with set. So one setter method per one attribute. A single setter method cannot work for more than one attribute. Okay, more than one field. One setter method, for instance, over here I have weight and is rabbit and name. So I may have three setter methods over here. One for weight, another for is rain, another for is name. But I must need a setter method for the private one. What is the private one over here? Weight, right? So I must have a setter method for the private attribute. So if you have an attribute private, you must need a setter method for that one. So setter method, it returns it does not return any type, so it's always void. And setter methods are usually public. There are some very rare cases that setter method is private. You will learn that if you take advanced software engineering course. Otherwise, you will not need this until you become a senior. 2-3 years you don't need it. Okay, for special purposes you need it. And the setter method, it takes, this is the norm. A setter method, it takes an argument. And what type of argument? We need it for the type will be the attribute for which we are setting it up. So that whether integer type we need is at integer type. Whatever we can say whether or w is fine. And then it says you can have any code over here. It says if w greater than 0, then weight equal to w, or you could say this dot weight equal to w. Again, when this weight is required, if we have same name over here, so if you put same name weight over here, and if you give same name over here, then you need w over here. This is local variable, then you must use this. But if you have a different argument name, then even using this operator is optional. Okay, and getter method. Okay, so let us do the getter method here. So getter method is used to get or retrieve the value. So getter method, it always return a value. What type of value it returns? The type, whatever we are attribute type. So attribute type is integer, so it will be integer. And the naming convention is get weight. It start with get. You can give any name, but usually convention is that we need to. And it does not take any argument, and it's just return the weight. So this method, it does not have any weight. So where is this weight is coming from? This is the global attribute, okay? This weight is coming from global. Okay, so getter method and setter method are used to. So getter method has another name is called accessor, and setter method is another name. It has another name that is called mutator. Is used to set a value. So please practice this program, okay? So unless you do practice, it will not work for you. So in some languages, we set self. This is equivalent to this. Like Python, we use self. In some languages, self means own, right? Same thing as this. Okay, so these are the complete code, some complete code, but remember that in our previous lectures, I discussed with some live programs. If you practice those, I think you will be good. Has anyone any question? Are you okay? Again, please practice this, okay? So in our, okay, one thing that it does not have this slides, that toString method. Overriding the toString method. If you follow my previous programs, the doc class, okay, you see that I discuss how to override the toString method. C++ does not have toString method, okay, but if you know the alternative way, that is good. But so if is not in our slide, then it will not be in test. toString method will not be in test, but I like you to know it. That's all object-oriented programming. So for the last 3 weeks, I discussed object-oriented programming, just introduction. Now, it is our time. What do you think? Is it something new? Programming style, right? Is it interesting? You know, for this kind of program, if you do not do object-oriented programming, then your program code will be very verbose. So it's common dog, you're creating a common dog instance, right? Otherwise, if you have to say dog 1, dog 2, dog 3, dog 4, dog 100, dog 1000. For each dog, you have to say each dog 1 is rabbit, dog 2 is rabbit, dog 3 is rabbit. So if you have 1000 dogs, then you have 1000 times 2. How many? 1000 times 3, 3000 variable you have to maintain. Right? So then your program could be very large. So the object-oriented programming concept is that we develop our program in real-life fashion. So we say create, we say dog. So in our method, we say dog D1, it creates a new dog. Say dog D2, it creates another dog. For compiler, it takes only a few milliseconds to execute a statement, right? And for us, how long it takes to write a code? So you say, so circle C1, I got one circle. If I say circle C1, I will get a circle C2, I got another circle. If you say C3, I got another circle. I say C4, I got another circle. I get C5, another circle. It's not easy, right? So the magic is that the main part is that to declare a class, design a class. If you know how to design a class, then the remaining part is easy. Okay, has anyone any questions so far? Okay, so now let us see our schedule. So you see that we are at the end of the schedule. We have only one module left. Okay, we will discuss that in our next 2 weeks. And remember, your test will be in 2 weeks, right? Just 3 in 2 weeks. April 22nd. Today's 8, right? Okay. Has anyone any question? Again, please do not forget to take your quiz 7. Has anyone any question? It is good. I gave you to write some program, practice some program, okay? What is that? Tornado class and weather class, right? At least these two. If you can do this, then you can do earthquake class, right? Okay.